and Solution RX and IU. Was you late for your own wedding?
I was there just in the nick of time.
All right, we're joined by Lady Braves assistant Cory Glidewell, and ladies coming off the big win tonight by a final score of 65-23, 17-0 on the season, and everything I get is that 31 wins in a row.
31 in a row.
All right, so we welcome Cory, and we'll get into why we call him Shooter a little bit later on, but we'll talk some basketball first.
Yeah, okay. Obviously, Cory, let's just kind of just back up a minute and talk about how you got involved in this program. I know you've been coaching youth basketball and coaching some of these girls even when they were younger, but kind of go through the story about what led you into this role that you're in now.
I started coaching my nephew actually when he was about in the 4th grade. We played some rec league ball, and then we started traveling a little bit with him and his friends and stuff. And Chloe was always hanging around with me, and she got the bug too, so started coaching her in 2nd grade. We coached here in rec league, Iuka, for 2 years, and then we took a team and started a little competitive ball. And that's the same time we started that when Coach Middleton took the job here. So, of course, I picked his brain for everything I could.
Yep.
And, we started trying to emulate the Lady Braves way back then, starting in the 4th and 5th grade, and just traveled all over and got as much basketball as we could out of it and tried to learn the system so when they got up here they'd be ready to roll.
Yeah. And you have a real job, that you work, and then you just you give your time to be able to do this, and so I got a question about Coach Middleton. If you had one word to describe him, what would it be?
Determined.
Determined?
Yes.
Yep. We talked about even with him and throughout the thing, about changing the culture. And that was the first thing that needed to happen here, and it seems like you guys have been able to do that.
Yes, and that's something that not just anybody can do. I tip my hat to him. He is amazing at his job. I'm thankful to get to sit on the bench beside him and learn. I learned so much from him. Everybody I've got to help. Coach Craig Daly, Larry Johnson was my coach in school. I've picked up a little bit from everybody and tried to just roll with it and put it all in one basket.
Well, we've talked to Brian about this and talked to Becky as well, but, you're kind of in that same situation where your daughter's on the team. How special is that to be able to be a part of that same team where she's a player and you're an assistant coach?
It is. It's really great. We spend a lot of time together, not just here, but we travel all summer also playing ball.
Right.
So having her along for the ride, I got a good story with her when we get to the shooter portion of this, and it's very, very rewarding.
Well, Fred, let's move into that part. Kind of lead us into that.
So yeah, we go back to the COVID years, and you were having to, so many things you had to do, and if somebody come down with the COVID, they're gone. And so what happens is we're supposed to play Belmont, and Coach Middleton gets the COVID, and so we of course we're doing the game, and then with him not going to be able to be here, so Cory has to take over and coach, and so from that point it reminded us of the movie Hoosiers where Coach Norman Dale would get thrown out of the game, and then he'd make Shooter to take over. So he'd purposely get thrown out of the game so Shooter would have to coach. And so Michael decided that Cory was become Shooter because Coach Miller just didn't show up. And it's against Belmont, too. It's not like we're just playing somebody, that just comes along. And so that's pretty much how we started the Shooter name. And we've been back and forth with Cory. And, I mean, he's even brought us the picket fence over here, and we had that. And it's been fun to the point where when his daughter, when she first started playing and hit the 3, I called her Shooter Junior. We've had a really good time with that. And
well, Cory, kind of talk about if you can go back, rewind to that night. When you got the call and you look, hey, I got to be. This is Belmont, and I got to be the coach tonight. What were you kind of thinking and going through during that time?
So he was actually out 5 games.
That's right. Yep.
But that was like the first one, wasn't it? Wasn't that the first?
No, that was toward the middle of it. The first one was at Saltillo.
Okay.
That was the first one, and the funny part of that is Chloe was in the 6th grade at the time. And she was on her phone FaceTiming with him through the whole game, and he was watching it. She had one ear pod in and was relaying stuff to me from Coach Middleton at home. And
hilarious.
And she sat on the bench for all those games like that, and was my relay, like an offensive coordinator up in the booth. He was talking to us.
Well, I know he told something about us that sometime during that Belmont game he had to go out to the car and sit and listen to us so he knew what was going on from the car. He said nobody has a radio in the house anymore. They have to sit out in the car. That is just too funny. That's good. That's good stuff.
Well, Cory, when you think about this team, you guys, I mean, these, we had Mara Nunley on here back during the Belmont game, and we talked about how that group kind of was the foundation, the ones that kind of started that turn, and now that culture is kind of where when the Lady Braves take the floor, they expect to win, right? I mean, that's just kind of the attitude that they have. What do you see about this team this year that's special to you?
Coach Riddick just asked me that same question before the JV game tonight. We were talking about it, and he and I both come up with the same conclusion. They're just mentally tough.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of talent. We've had a lot of mentally tough girls, but this group just seems to be mentally tough, and they just don't seem to get rattled. Knock on wood, we may get rattled, but I think we'll bounce back from anything. But
what do you attribute that to? Just by some of the juniors and the seniors, some of those being in those high stakes games, those high pressure games before, and hey, it's just not a deer in the headlights look anymore, right? So
right, and it's the culture too.
Yeah,
like I said, Coach Middle took this program from a 4-win program to 20s and to 25 plus 30 win season state championship, and the girls that have come up through that, watching that, they're ingrained in that culture now and expecting it, and they hold each other accountable for it too.
Yeah.
We talk about what it's like for other teams to prepare for our team, and we come up, we call it a conundrum. That's our new word, because it is. I mean, you've got legitimate 5 players on the floor that can score. So I mean, we've seen years past where they run a face up to face somebody else, they run a box, they do. You can't do that to this team.
Right.
I mean, and just like tonight is a perfect example. Meg goes out with the injury. She's got 2 points. And then so Kaisley scores 18, and even Claire's got 18, and she spent most of the first half with foul trouble. So, I mean, you get points from so many places, it's hard to come up with a plan to stop them all.
Yeah.
And, you see, your daughter Chloe, she's the sixth man, right? She comes off. I mean, it could be guard gets in foul trouble, Chloe's coming in. A post player. Balin gets in foul trouble, Chloe's coming in, and that's talk about that role of being. We talk about Ashton Johnson with the boys. We call him super sub, and Chloe kind of fits that thing. That mentality. I don't know if I'm going to play 3 minutes. I'm going to play 20 minutes. I got to be ready to play guard.
Position
I got to be ready to post up. I got to be ready to play a guard. How important is that bench play for this Lady Braves team that you have? You have a really strong bench this year.
Yeah, we do, and it's huge. Our JV program is amazing. Our JV team has not been beaten about 3 years.
Wow, yeah.
And we say all the time, our JV girls that practice against our varsity girls, they push them so hard to get better. And at practice, our JV girls don't expect to get beat by the varsity girls. That's the mentality they've got.
That's good. That's again, that goes back to that change in the.
And I think that's why this group has grown to be so mentally tough, playing against all those groups of amazing varsity players, and not expecting to get walked on. And they push back and make practices really tough on our varsity group, and that helps our program.
That's great. Man, that's good stuff, Cory Glidewell. Man, we appreciate you coming and joining us tonight. We're about to get started about this boys game, and we look forward to an exciting rest of the season, and our plans are to be in Jackson.
Yes.
And I hope you guys are there too, because we won't go without you.
Yeah, that kind of defeats the whole purpose, don't it?
Thank y'all
Thank
for
you,
having
Cory.
me.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Hey, go Braves.
Hey, go Braves.
All right, we're ready to start the second half.